boss, I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'ma shine like glass. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'ma shine like glass.
Hey, what's up everyone? It's Chase, aka That Gay Jedi, and welcome to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel where I cover and queer all things Star Wars. Today's video is part of a top 10 queerest moments of Star Wars series where I offer my opinions on things in Star Wars media that I feel are inherently queer, queer adjacent, or just things that I feel as queer folks tend to gravitate towards and resonate with. In this video, I'm going to be listing the top 10 queerest moments of probably one of the gayest films in the Star Wars saga, and that is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. As a reminder, the items on this list are by no means exclusively queer. They are just things that I feel give Star Wars significant queer undertones. As always, please feel free to leave your thoughts and feelings down below in the comments, but please keep it respectful. Without further ado, let's get into it. Listen, if I were to convince anyone of Luke's queerness, I would direct them to this movie. Luke's gay vibes in Return of the Jedi are huge contributors to the whole movie reading so queer. First off, we have to talk about his entrance at Jabba's palace. The entrance Luke Skywalker makes is one of the most extra entrances in the entire Star Wars saga. He just casually enters Jabba's palace fully backlit in his dramatic all-black robes, struts in like he owns the place, stands in front of Jabba the Hutt with even more dramatic lighting. I mean, the theatrics of it all. This brings me to my next point, which is Luke's raw queer swagger. Return of the Jedi gives us the most confident, nonchalant Luke we have ever seen in a Star Wars movie. Even as he's being dragged away to the Sarlacc pit, he casually slips to Jabba that it's the last mistake he'll ever make.
The last mistake you'll ever make.
Like, we know that this is because Luke has a whole plan with R2 and his lightsaber and all that, but he just like degaffs his entire way through the first act of this movie and radiates confidence throughout the rest of it. My friend Ashley put it best when she said that Luke in Return of the Jedi is basically just this clip.
Move, I'm gay.
And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Luke's sexy all-black costume, complete with the Chanel boots.
Are you wearing the
Chanel boots? Yeah, I am.
This boy fully shows up dressed head to toe in the gayest outfit I've ever seen in a Star Wars. And the best part about it is you can tell that he knows he looks good. Like, you look at Luke at any point in Return of the Jedi and you know he knows he looks fire. Return of the Jedi is also the gayest film, almost by default, because we get a literal music number at Jabba's palace. A musical number complete with a full band, backup vocals, choreography, and yes, as a person who grew up very much a theater kid, this does not go unnoticed. Cy Snoodles and Joe Yowza are literally Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett. Tell me I'm wrong. And Rastal Sant is fully an intergalactic extra out of Cats the Musical. Also, I just have to say the high school cast party sleepover vibes at Jabba's palace are truly unmatched. Like, everyone sleeping in the throne room looks almost too much like our Footloose cast party, where everyone just like slept on the floor at a friend's house. Next up, we have the costume design of Return of the Jedi. This movie brings us so many iconic, fabulous, and you guessed it, gay costumes, and it will forever be one of my favorite parts about it. Star Wars costume designs are also just one of my favorite parts of all Star Wars movies, and they tend to be a big reason why Star Wars, to me, feels so queer. Now, I've already mentioned Luke's very well coordinated and structured monochromatic look, so I won't say much more on that, but I need to mention Leia's Bosch the Bounty Hunter costume, because this look gives us all of the Leia androgyny that we deserve. There is something about it that just feels like Leia in alien drag to me, and she just looks so beautiful and so badass. Return of the Jedi also gives us Luke and Leia twinning in camouflage ponchos on Endor, and it's freaking adorable. And of course, we have Leia's Ewok village dress, which comes out of nowhere in the best way, and I don't know, she's a badass princess that turns stunning looks, so how can the queer community not stan? Also, related but not related, can I just say how much the Gamorrean guards remind me of Maleficent's henchmen from Disney's Sleeping Beauty? Because I just need to get that out there. I need to get that off my chest. Now, I've mentioned camp in Star Wars on the channel before, but I have yet to include it in a top 10 video, and that's because I've saved it exclusively for this breakdown. Return of the Jedi is undoubtedly the campiest of the original trilogy, and I'd even argue the whole saga. For those unfamiliar with the definitions of camp, writer Alyssa Goodman gives a solid intro to the layered myriad quote-unquote definition of camp, writing, "Camp is an elusive, often subjective concept that has baffled scholars for decades. It can define a broad spectrum of cultural phenomena as easily applied to Judy Garland as it is to Nicki Minaj, Greg Araki, and RuPaul's Drag Race. Literally defined, it means a deliberately exaggerated and theatrical behavior or style, something extra. It's as much of a sensibility as it is an aesthetic, and was first academically defined for the culture by Susan Sontag's groundbreaking essay, Notes on Camp, in 1964, which ascribed no less than 58 defining characteristics to the term. Point number 41 of this essay, by the way, highlights that, quote, the whole point of camp is to dethrone the serious. Camp is playful, anti-serious. More precisely, camp involves a new, more complex relation to the serious. One can be serious about the frivolous, frivolous about the serious. Now, tell me that does not directly apply to the entirety of Return of the Jedi. The fact that overall it's such a lighthearted and goofy movie, while also being the accumulation of the entire original trilogy and the climax of the war itself, for a movie handling such heavy, serious plot points and themes, it sure has a Scooby-Doo level of absurdity. Some quick camp moments that come to mind are, obviously, those Max Rebo performances, for sure. When one of the most notorious and feared bounty hunters is basically accidentally killed off, or so we think. When Luke, Han, Chewie, 3PO, and R2 get trapped by the Ewoks. Basically the entire Battle of Endor, TBH. Plus, Return of the Jedi gives us all of the melodrama when it comes to Leia being Luke's sister, Palpatine trying to turn Luke to the dark side, Vader and Luke fighting, Palpatine being thrown down the reactor core shaft. You get the point. Basically, all of the camp and melodrama gives us Gay's life. Coming in at number 5, we have this line.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
Tell me a queer elder wouldn't quip that at a young queer person. I live. While folks might have different opinions on Leia's portrayal at Jabba's palace, for me and many others, she will always be the feminist icon that killed her captor. In an interview between Entertainment Weekly and Star Wars author Claudia Gray, Gray speaks on reclaiming Leia's gold bikini look and making Leia the Hutt Slayer canon. In it, Gray states, quote, for a human being to kill a Hutt with her bare hands, that's unbelievable. Anybody who would be able to pull that off would be remembered for it. That would be legend. Ewoks are queer. I will not elaborate. For many queer people having to deal with hate in the real world, it can sometimes feel all too easy to slip down a dark path. But as we see with Luke, it is possible to choose love even when standing face to face with the embodiment of hate and evil himself. Luke, despite all of the dark-sided persuasion, chooses to stand in love for his father, a choice that motivates his father to come back to the light side, and a choice that literally redeems his father's soul. Choosing our own path and breaking free from norms and expectations is especially important to us queer folks, and to see that reflected in this Star Wars story is a powerfully queer moment for LGBTQ+ fans. Coming in at number 9, we have this line delivery.
Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
The sass and shade of it all. Palpy did not have to be that shady with that delivery, but he was, and I'm grateful for it. And finally, at number 10, we have the Rebel victory after the Battle of Endor and the galaxy's big win against hate and oppression. Now, on a broader scale, the victory in Return of the Jedi to me feels like anytime there's a big win for LGBTQ+ rights in the Supreme Court or anywhere else for that matter. For example, the victory celebration at the end of episode 6 is definitely how I felt when the Supreme Court made gay marriage legal in all 50 states. And on a smaller scale, so much of the fighting in Return of the Jedi gives me all of those incredible underdog kicks bully's butt vibes, which I think many of us queer folks can relate to, and, well, we love to see it. The most obvious example of this has to be the Ewoks kicking butt, taking names, and taking down whole ATSTs on their own. Small but Mighty doesn't even begin to explain the power of the Ewok. Of course, we also have Han, Leia, Chewie, R2, and 3PO working together to outsmart and defeat the Imperial officers and stormtroopers at the Endor bunker. And finally, we have Luke confronting the Emperor and Vader tossing him out like the trash he is. We really do love to see it.
Bye, bitch.
Oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. That wraps us up for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you thought about the list, if there's anything you would have added, or if this list has helped you look at this movie through a queerer lens. Like I said, let me know down in the comments, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, because I do put out new queer Star Wars content every other Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. It means the world, and may the Force be with you always.